8 at 11. Despite the dry conditions, there is still some things that you could do to prevent the loss of water in the future. And joining us is Meyer from Meyer Landscape and Design to talk about caring for your plants in this heat and the drought we're having, your plants and your grass, because some of it looks pretty bad out there.
We're getting a lot of questions from people, and we thought this might help some people understand things. So.
Right, you bet. Well, I mean, it's very dry in the Quad City area. What are some techniques that people should use to make sure things are getting enough moisture?
Well, one of the things that you don't want to do is overwater. Sometimes people overwater, and that's not good for the plant either. It'll cause the same wilting effect. A slow trickle of a hose like what we're showing here in and around the plant base is ideal. If you can stretch a hose out, let it trickle around a tree for 20 minutes to 40 minutes or until it puddles and starts running off. You need to soak deeply and less often. A lot of people make the mistake of watering quite often, too often, and shallow. You want the roots to root deep so the trees become dependent on the soil, not on your watering.
Oh, okay.
And if you're watering every day, that's not good for the plant. A deep watering like every 4 to 7 days on your perennials, once every 7 to 10 days on your trees and shrubs. And new plantings need to be watered that often anyway, so the drought conditions really have very little effect on planting. If you're going to plant something new, it needs to be watered that often to get it established anyway.
Sure, no matter what the weather,
right,
really. Okay,
right.
Let's talk about grass, because that, you know, your plants and your shrubs are one thing, but watering your lawn.
Right, and a lot of people are, the lawn will go dormant, which is normal, and usually you get a rain to keep the corm of the grass alive. And what's happening right now is we're getting dry enough in that surface moisture that we don't have enough moisture to keep the lawn actively alive and viable. So our recommendation is about once a week, if you can put an inch of water on your lawn. And how long does that take with a sprinkler? The best way is to put like a coffee can or something out there and run your sprinkler and see how long it takes to get an inch of water in that can, and then you'll realize, okay, I got to water for 25 minutes or 40 minutes, whatever the sprinkler coverage is. But once a week, it's not going to green the lawn up, but it'll keep the lawn active so it'll come back when we get into the correct weather for the lawn.
Right, because a lot of people don't want to waste the water. They say, you know, they don't need it to look, you know, all lush and green, but you don't want it to completely die off either.
And if the water's running off, it's doing no good. Move the sprinkler. If it starts running off, move it to another area.
Okay, what about the plants that are really kind of showing the effect of the dryness, you know, that their leaves are looking bad?
So you'll see some of the hosta and some of the different perennials have burned from the heat that hit them. And what you do on that is actually, you can actually take like a hedge shear and cut those off back to the ground. The rootstock is still alive on the plant. It will reflush some nice new green leaves that'll be accustomed to the heat, and the plant will come back beautifully. I think we had a shot earlier of an astilbe that was cut off, and it came back, and it's about this tall now, but it was brown before. Take that brown foliage off those plants. Same with shrubs. If you've got some brown foliage, check the stem. You can scrape the stem and see if it's green under the bark. If it's still green under it, it's going to reflush foliage, but you can take some of that dead leaves off there and make it look much nicer. Because
this wouldn't be the time of the year that you would think about doing that, but go ahead.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. I've got an area in my yard where my hosta along my driveway turned brown. I'm going to shear those off and let them reflush green for fall.
All right, and we already covered planting. For the new plants, just make sure you're watering them plenty.
We got beautiful plants ready to go. Our staff has done a beautiful job taking care of everything. It's all green and lush and ready to go into your yard.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much for
Tell them to call with advice too. We can help you out.
Yeah, that's true too. People might have a personal question. Meyer from Meyer Landscape and Design, always here to help you out. And you can find more by going to Meyer's website at meyerslandscape.com, or you can visit them in person at their Moline location on 47th Street or the store in Taylor Ridge as well. We'll be right back.